Welcome back to the Gaming Den. How is everybody today? Well, I'm doing good myself. My name is Saestro, and I've been hosting a channel that unfortunately has been dead for about 2 years. Put simply, real life happened. I just felt like I didn't have time to put into my channel anymore, and besides the YouTube copyright fiasco and every other obligation I have, just really didn't have much drive to work on the channel anymore. But I took all of that and said, F it. I've got something I want to do, and this is it. So, the game that you're seeing on screen right now is called Hyrule Warriors. This is a title that was released in North America back in September 26th, 2014. Did I get that right? Yeah, it was for the Nintendo Wii U. And this is, of course, the Legend of Zelda spin on the popular, if not infamous, Musou games, or as we know them here, they're commonly titled Warriors in North America. Now, it was developed by Omega Force and published by Tecmo Koei Games. So, the footage on screen is back from 2015. It's about a few months after the Twilight Princess DLC was released, and this is the final stage in the Adventure Mode map, where you need to defeat Ganon. So I'm using Link with a decent magic sword, and this footage is just a backdrop while I explain what I want to do with the series and also show my skills a little bit. I'm much better now than I was back in this recording, and I do know how to use every character, so keep that in mind. Now to start with, I'm just putting this out on the table that this game has been played to death. Like, we're talking hundreds of hours. And I even own Hyrule Warriors Legends on the 3DS. As much as I would have loved to have done that version of the game, I just can't, because I can't capture that. Read more about why in the description if you want. Now, something I noticed with all the footage out there in YouTube and whatnot is that a lot of people don't seem to understand how the game mechanics work, and how to do basic stuff like avoid taking too much damage and other things. Koei kinda left us in the dark with a lot of the game mechanics. We had to sit there and figure this stuff out for about 2 years, like how to calculate damage when your life bar is measured in quarter hearts, or how defense works, which isn't displayed at all, by the way. The information is now out there since a lot of people were dedicated to just finding out what makes the game tick. So basic things like guarding and just using the block button and dodging, these are very useful things. In fact, these are probably the best tools the game gives you. I don't know why so many people are so adamant about ranting how useless it is to block attacks and take no damage. I just don't get that argument. Anyway, so what I want to do is to put my channel back into an active position. I want to upload a 100% walkthrough of the game. Now yes, I know this game has hundreds of hours of content. In fact, you might be asking how I don't get bored of this. Actually, the answer lies in its simplicity. See, you don't have tons of moves like Devil May Cry or God of War, but you do learn to use what moves you have very effectively. Now, I'm okay with the fact that battlefields are loaded with enemies who don't attack, and the idea here is to focus primarily on the ones that matter, like captains or generals and so on. Then you cut down the fodder if they get in your way. Your allies can be a bit of a liability since the AI never really has a chance to be awesome, like you. They don't mow through the battlefield and cut down enemies left and right. But what they can do for you is stop enemies in place, prevent them from charging into your allied base. Stave off their attacks and wait for you to get there to turn the tide, as it is. Now, this isn't something the game encourages, unfortunately, because if you don't defeat an enemy yourself, then no materials or rupees, nothing will drop. It really sucks, but that's how it is. As you can see, the difficulty of the game doesn't come from a slider. Instead, it's how well you can manage the battlefield. Now, yes, it would be nice to have some allies who did significant things alongside you, and outside of Legend Mode. One day, intelligent AI will be a thing as well as a well-coded Musou game. That's what I'm hoping for in the future anyway. It's such a shame they stopped doing awesome stuff like player versus player. Why can we not do this? And where's the online play? Yeah, let's not get too sidetracked here. So, I'm playing through the game, but we need something to help make this playthrough stand out. And that's where my little gimmick is going to come into play. You ready for this? So, I'm going to head through the entirety of Hyrule Warriors using only the version 1.0 base game to complete the task. I can hear it already. You guys are probably asking, why in the F would you ever want to go back to that? And I answer your question with another question. Why not? For those of you who don't know, Hyrule Warriors was already patched multiple times over the course of 2 years to fix game glitches, rebalance movesets, add new features to the Bazaar, add new DLC, new characters, new adventure maps, and even just to update challenge mode, which is kind of strange, because for the longest time there was just one quick thing that really didn't reward you at all. Now, by using version 1.0, all of the things I just mentioned will be null and void. As you can imagine, this is going to change the game significantly, since a lot of the problems that the game had ended up getting fixed later on. But there are some benefits to going back down to the basics, like, for example, there's a lot less min-maxing, and I only need to worry about going to level 99 as opposed to level 255. Also, there's fewer characters to manage, which is pretty nice. And something else that's pretty nice is that I'm actually going to be getting a little bit of help with this endeavor. You see, many people who watch my channel will know that whenever I have a player 2, it's usually a good friend of mine. He goes by the name Donzonator. Now, I'm not sure if he's updated his channel recently, but he owns this game. In fact, I'm actually borrowing his disc copy of the game to get this version 1.0 playthrough done, because I downloaded my copy of the game through the eShop. And since I have to go back to, well, not having the save data in order to go to version 1.0, I can't download it through my account. And, well, long story short, let's just say I didn't want to get rid of hundreds of hours of playing other Wii U games, just so that I could do this special playthrough. You know, I'm gonna put hundreds of hours into this one anyway, but whatever. I'm gonna do it. Back on point, having a player 2 in Hyrule Warriors is immensely helpful, because some levels provide rewards for 2 different characters, and you can only pick one character at a time. So there's no switching like Legends. You just simply play the stage multiple times as each character to get all the rewards. Specifically, this is heart pieces, heart containers, gold sculptulas, etc. So, having 2 players allows you to obtain 2 different rewards at the same time, in addition to cutting down the stage length, which is pretty nice. Speaking of which, that's something else I have to consider. The stages in this game are going to be pretty long, meaning upwards of 15 minutes or longer. And my goal will be to have a Legend Mode stage be around 20 to 30 minutes. Depends on how long the cutscenes are. Adventure Mode stages can be 2 to 3 stages per video, because their length depends on what they're making you do. Sometimes it's just something that'll take 3 minutes, sometimes 5, 7, 10, 13, or even right up to 15. All depends on what you're doing just to get that A rank. And I'm also going to make it a point to try and get things done quickly. And I'm also putting a little stylish flair on there too. I want to show some variations of combat rather than just hitting the same combo attack over and over again just because it's the most effective. Items do have uses aside from bringing down bosses, or sub-weapons in this case. You know, like, they actually have combo potential, which is amazing. It's going to be a little tough since I don't have all of the character moves yet. You know, that's not going to happen until later on in Legend Mode. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to complete the first 4 stages, like the prologue stages first. Then we jump into Adventure Mode. Your progress in Adventure Mode is limited by how much of Legend you cleared, so you kind of have to do both. In between some videos, I'm going to do some grinding, just to make sure that I keep everybody up to speed. You know, I won't be able to obtain perfect weapons on version 1.0. That's not happening unless I spend hours and hours farming drops, you know, hoping that I get a weapon that has like 6 empty slots on it, and that's not very realistic at all. So I'll settle for practical weapons instead, just enough to get the job done. And I think that about outlines what I want to do. So please, leave some comments and let me know what you'd like to see regarding Hyrule Warriors. Or if you happen to have any suggestions, send them my way, I'm all ears. Hopefully I can upgrade my capture method soon, because I've been using the Aver media for a long time, and, you know, back when it was first a big popular thing. So, now I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of the video play itself out. You know, I personally like this tunic on Link, the purple color. It's pretty nice, and I'm going to miss it because that is DLC. So, thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoy the rest of the stage, and we're going to see how this goes. Oh, and for some of you curious about whether I'm going to start doing audio commentary along with my playthroughs, I'm going to have to say no to that. You know, the reason being that my incessant rambling is about as interesting as watching paint dry. Like, seriously, I don't have any interesting stuff to say. I'm too busy focusing on the game. You know, I may as well just be put on mute. Post-commentary could be a thing, because, like, honestly, I had to come up with a script just for this video so I didn't sound like a mumbling mess of and so on. I'll think about it.